Hey there, if you're loving the tips so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss out on more cool free tips coming your way. I'd also love to hear from you. Make sure to drop a comment below and let me know what you think, or what it is you want to see next. And we'll see you on the inside. See you.
So we're on this series on how to get more conversions,
To make you more
right?
profitable so
To be more
that,
profitable,
yeah,
right? To get the same amount of leads, convert more of those,
hmm,
fix that problem, then start putting more leads in. And in the last episode, we kind of gave a general outline. We said, if you want to increase your conversion, first you have to have a why big enough to warrant it. Like I
yeah,
want, I have a burning desire to have more,
right,
and to do that, I need to increase my conversion. So I have to have a big enough of a why to motivate me to take action. Number two was speed to lead, right? So how fast do I get contact those leads? The
that's
faster,
right.
the higher of a conversion. Number three, we talked about consistent follow up where we have structured time,
Yep,
structured phone calls,
that's right.
and automation, right? High touch. I'm sorry,
High
high
tech,
touch, high
high
tech,
touch,
low
low
time.
time.
Yep.
That's
High
right.
tech, high touch, low
Low
time,
time.
and
That's right.
automation. That's part of the consistent follow up.
That's right.
Then we talked about that scripting,
Yep.
knowing what to say can increase my conversion rate. And then what we started on the last episode was energy, that I got
Mm,
to have the right energy in place. And we talked about getting out and exercising, like walking, gives
mhm.
me energy. We talked about
What you put in and listen to gives you energy, making sure that it's positive. Yep.
Yep. And then we talked about rest. We kind of sort of talked about resting. So resting, walking, or getting our exercise in the
Yeah.
morning, and having a positive attitude increases our energy level. So I thought this one kind of, and we thought, well, you got to have the energy before you can even start talking about speed to lead or structured phone calls or scripting. We got to have the energy to
Mm,
do it. But this next one that I thought we'd cover, I don't know which comes first, the chicken or the egg on this one. So we have the energy, but remember we talked about the energy. You have to have a big enough of a why to want to do
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about, so part two here is having the why, having the reason that I want to do it. And I'm going to tell you, Steve, I find in helping loan officers, like, I can help you with energy. I can help map out the speed to lead. I can show you the different tactics we use. I can
Yep.
help you. Dude, you've been helped me out so much with this and structuring my calendar. You're like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
ninja guru when it comes to structuring my calendar, which frankly took the stress out of my life, because now I'm living off the calendar instead of going, well, what do I do? What do I do? And I got all this stuff, and I feel like I'm opening the garage door and all this stuff was falling all over
It
me.
just falls.
Come
Yeah.
to find out, if you just pull it all out, put it in order, and put it back in a systematic order, I got plenty of room in the garage, right? It's totally
Right.
cool, right? So, but we got to have the why. So the
Mm.
why, and the scripting is easy enough, right? You're the master of all the scripting. So all those parts are easy. I think the hardest part is is making sure that you got a big enough of a why. And I don't know that this can be taught. And I'd love to hear if you've got some feedback on this, because
Well, that's what I was wanting to hear from you. Know, like when I think about the why, what comes to mind for you? So like and let's think about this. So we've got to know the why of what we're doing. And so what are your thoughts? Like,
well, I
because
tell you,
I
so
do
I'll just
agree. I don't think you can give it to somebody. Hey, but you know what? I think there's a lot of guilt and shame around it. When
mm,
somebody says, I just want to make a lot of money, I think there's almost
mm,
like it can suck the wind out of the room sometimes. And they're like, well, you're being selfish. You're not, and
mm,
when you said why, the first two things I wrote down was purpose and money. Like and when you combine the two, it makes it even more exciting. Like for me, I wake up every day because I get the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of the families and the people we serve. And in doing that, Carl, we get to make a great living. So it's kind of both and I don't know really like I'd love to hear your thoughts on the why. Hey, you know what I also thought about? You get a why when your back's up against a wall. I've seen some people find their why when they truly had, Steph and I say this phrase all the time, there's no way out, only a way through. sometimes that why has to be uncovered when it's like, holy, insert in,
Yeah.
I got no choice. That's my
Holy
why.
crap. Holy
Yeah.
crap. Right.
Yeah.
So, but you know what, Steve? I've seen a
You've seen
lot of loan officers
back
who's
against the
back
wall,
against
not,
the
yeah.
wall
Yeah.
and they still don't do it because
Mm.
their why isn't big enough. So,
So
so
how
I,
do you get a why? Like, what is it? Like,
you know, so I'll tell you what my why is.
tell me it.
All right. So this is my why, and this is just totally
Yeah,
Stephen
we're just,
Croft,
it's you and
right?
me. This is you
Yeah.
and me on the front porch
So
talking.
we may not even publish this episode. We might
Yeah.
end up
Yeah.
striking all this out, right?
Yeah.
Even though I don't think we've ever done. Actually, that's not true. We did one
We
episode
did
about
one a couple weeks ago.
about 3 weeks ago, and then went, that was so
That was
terrible.
so bad.
Let's just delete the whole thing. And so I don't remember what the topic was, but
It was
it was
bad.
bad. It was
That's the
bad.
only one I think we've ever done,
I
though.
think so. I think so. Or even done an edit too. So
Talking about
so
why.
I would say so the why. So here's my why. And you've heard part of this, and maybe all of it. I grew up really poor.
Hmm.
Now, I wouldn't say we weren't homeless poor. We weren't sleeping in our car poor, but we were poor.
Yeah.
And and I hated it, man. I did. I hated it. I'm gonna be a little shallow here. So, and I don't know why this one thing always it's a I get the visual image of this thing every time. So we lived in a little small house,
Yeah.
which was okay, I guess. We lived in a somewhat affluent. We backed up to a very affluent neighborhood, and so it was a little dirt road right before you got in this big fancy gated neighborhood was my house. So all of my friends, and when I say all of them lived in this affluent neighborhood because that's where you'd walk to and you ride your bike. It was there, and probably in today's numbers, these were probably these were probably average $800,000 houses,
Yeah.
right? So they weren't the billionaire's house, but it was an affluent neighborhood. My house was probably in today's market 100,000, which
Mm.
it's hard to find a
Mm.
$100,000 house these days, right?
Right.
So we had this old beat up 1940s refrigerator. And it was an old, dude, I can picture it now. It was old. It was clean, right? We had a clean house, but it was an old, literally rusty
Yeah.
Westinghouse that had the rounded curves,
Oh, yeah.
right? And because we couldn't afford to buy a new one, and that one worked, and it did. But I was so embarrassed when people came in my house that there was this old rusty refrigerator.
Mm.
And I remember growing up embarrassed about that stupid thing, as crazy as this might sound, right?
Yeah.
And I remember growing up thinking, and dude, I love my parents, right? So I don't want to in any way, shape, or form disrespecting my parents. My father's dead.
Right.
My mother is what, like 90, something like that. Unlikely
Hmm.
she'd ever, because I never want to hurt her feelings, right? She's a wonderful mother. My father's a wonderful father. Just poor, right? We
Right.
weren't poor in spirit, but we were poor financially. Wealthier than their parents,
Yep.
but anyway. So I remember growing up and I'm thinking, man, I'm gonna have a nice refrigerator.
Hmm.
I'm gonna have a house so my kids aren't embarrassed with me. And maybe I shouldn't have been embarrassed, Steve. Maybe that's my own character defect, right? But it just I'm just being honest here, right? So I hated being poor.
Mm.
I hated that we had an old piece of crap car. I
Hmm.
hated it when it rained. My mother had a windshield wiper she would hold in her hand, roll down the window, and use the her handheld squeegee
Mm.
to get the rain off the windshield so she could see to drive. I remember doing that, right?
Mm.
And
Hmm.
sometimes, and we lived in North Carolina part of this time. It'd be cold up there,
Yep.
not 0 degrees, but it'd be in the 20s.
Right.
It's rain, sleet, snow, and mom's got the window rolled down with her squeegee, cleaning the windshield. I hated that, right? I
Hmm.
hated that.
Hmm.
And so my why was I don't want to be poor.
Yep.
And when I married Maria, I made some promises to her, right? And one of the promises was would live in a nice house, a nice neighborhood, and a nice refrigerator. I didn't say that, but in my mind, right? I told my kids there'll be no student loans in this house, right? Nothing against them. And I know we all got to do what we got to do, right? So there's
Yeah.
nothing,
Yeah.
nothing against them, right? but I said there's not going to be any student loans, and we're going to go on vacations. And I'd get a piece of paper out each year. We're going on these vacations, and when my kids turn a certain age, I'm going to go buy them a car. As long as they're
Yeah.
doing the right things,
Yeah.
they're not, you know, sitting in the backwoods smoking dope all day long and getting drunk with their friends, right? Obviously, I'm not going to condone or support that. But my kids, I didn't have that issue, right? Thank
Right.
God, right? I didn't have
Right.
that issue. And so we bought them cars, and they had nice apartments and houses when they went to college, and they've grown up to be hard workers.
Yeah.
They saved 25%. So it worked out really well.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was my why, was I just wanted a better financial, so not more love, because we had the love, but I wanted
Mm-hmm.
more of a financial situation for my family. And I think that there has to be this burning desire. I guess in my case, I was running away from shame,
Mm.
and which I don't like using shame as a motivator, because a very painful motivator, right? Or
Yeah.
for me, it was,
Yeah.
or still is, I guess. But I don't know, I just hated being poor. Now, I don't care. Look, I don't know. Like, I've got some nice jewelry. Maria has some nice jewelry. We've had some high-end cars, and those are all fine and dandy, right? But that's not why that was not my why. My why was I wanted my windshield wipers to work,
Yeah.
right? And then it was like, all right, so there's some people in my community that I want to help.
Yeah.
There's this single mother that's just doing the best she can. She made
Mm-hmm.
a wrong choice in a mate, and he put her, and this has happened several times, just in bad situations. And if they just had a car, they're
Yeah.
having to do Uber back and forth to work, and that's taken half their money. So if we
Mm.
could just buy them a car. So then we did that. And then you find these local causes, or the little league, or whatever that thing is for you, right? The church, or the women's association, or whatever that thing is. And it's
Mm.
just, you just have to have this burning desire, that you want to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. And
Mm.
I don't know how you teach that,
Yeah.
So again, as far as like a podcast episode, I can't tell you how to do a why. I can just give you an example, and you got to figure out what is that thing that drives you. I get a kick out of the little league here, and being
Oh yeah.
the
Yeah.
largest supporter of it, probably of anybody, I would
Mm-hmm.
imagine, including
Mm-hmm.
Bank of America here. I know they support a fair amount of teams, and I'm grateful for them. But so playing a big part, somebody else might go, "The hell are you worried about that? That I don't. That has me know why." But this other thing, now this is my
Gets me
why, like
excited.
the SPCA with the pets,
Yeah. Yeah.
or maybe you want to go buy a Bentley or a Rolls Royce, like whatever that thing is for you. But I think writing down a list, not in
Mm.
my head, but on a piece of
Mm-hmm.
paper, these are the things that I want.
Yeah.
These are the things that I'm going to provide to different people. And then have my spouse with me
Yeah.
and say, honey, these are the things that I'm going to promise to you. And then maybe if I'm going to do something, I don't know, I'll just pick on the Little League again, call the Little League. This is my commitment to you. And now I have got to do my prospecting, because, brother, I just committed to Tim that I'm
Yeah.
going to support, 12 teams this season. And so now I have to either I'm going to have to make a phone call. It's either A, to prospects, or B, to Tim, to tell him, hey, come to find out, I'm going to let you down, because I
Mm.
chose not to make my calls.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I kind of paint myself. You talk about, you have your why when your back's to the corner. Frankly, sometimes I put my back in the corner,
To
because
make
I
you.
know, dude, I got to do it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
They're
So,
counting on me, and I'm going to show up different when somebody else is
yeah.
counting on me.
Yeah. So this may or may not ring to anybody, but
Well,
it's
I
just
think, hey,
the
and look,
why's
as
the
we go,
hard thing.
well, and as we go into like, I just think part of what I thought about the practical side is if like this would be good to quiet the noise of social media and the media and
Mm,
television and all that stuff. And just over the next several days, really try to get quiet with yourself and uncover what does it
mm,
like when I do this, what makes me come alive, what gets me excited. And then I really believe that'll help you. Those are key identifiers, man. It's like, dude, I love doing this. Okay, why do you love doing that? And just keep going back further and further. And as you uncover the why, it helps you get through the tough days, and we all have them. But I also think too, Carl, that the community you're around is a big part of that as well.
Oh,
Hey, and what I want to do something on this one. I, when I'm thinking about why, what I was thinking about is this: what we ought to, if you're not currently involved in the Loan Officer Breakfast Club, I think you ought to. You ought to get connected to a community that you get to hear what I mean Joanne's doing, and then you hear what
what's
Margot's
possible?
doing.
Frankly,
Yeah,
just what's
because
possible.
yeah, but sometimes you're just so beat up and deflated, and it's like talk about a why. I can barely even see, the hope of next month or the next month. So I do this. If you're not already going to Loan Officer Breakfast Club, go to loanofficerbreakfastclub.com. It's a community that we've created to help top producing and loan officers across the country wake up every single day, help uncover your why, help uncover what is working right now to put loans in your pipeline and do it with a cool group of people going in the same direction. So go to loanofficerbreakfastclub.com, loanofficerbreakfastclub.com. I think, Carl, that's probably the best place, man. I think with the why, I think that's a great place to start if you need to link arms with a community.
To see what's possible.
Yeah, I
See what
love it.
see what the winners look like. What are they doing?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then when you see it's possible, you go, well, maybe that'll help the why of like I'd like to be a part of that. Like I see all these people bring these great solutions into, to their customers, to their referral
Hmm.
partners,
Hmm.
into their own life, right?
Yeah,
Their family's life, and then their community's life. And once you see what's possible, that might that's actually I like that thought. That might be a
give you a
good
little bit
driver
of
to
a
the
spark.
why. Because if I don't know it's possible, there's no why there to make me want to get there because I don't think it's possible. Once I see it's
That's right.
possible, oh, come to find out, I can close 15 loans and actually work less. Once I see that's possible, and I see how Lisa's doing that, um, that can help me fire up my why. I like that.
I love it.
Loanofficerbreakfastclub.com. You're a pretty smart
There
guy,
you go.
Steve. Good stuff.
All right. Hey, listen, remember anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See you.